Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday Night Music Show with an array of folks here. We got Pastor Jay, we got George and Matt, we got Eric, we got Howie, the producer, and we've got Boston John. Hey. This show, as always, is sponsored by DJ Event Planner, www.djeventplanner.com. Check them out in the description of this video, along with their other sponsors on YouTube. So let's jump right into Boston John's record roundup. What do you got for us this week, John?
We're going to do a record roundup. Well, yeah, of course I got a good one. We're going to show a little 617 love for every good Bostonian. You should have the two sides of Bobby Orr. I say you should have this in your collection if you want to say you're from Boston, because he was a wicked good hockey player, and he's from Boston. Okay, you got this one? You're not a Bostonian if you don't have this record. You got this one?
I got this one.
Oh.
I got this one.
I got news for you. You ready? You ready?
Yeah.
This was a Build in 19 special. It was 2 for 1. Check it out. Check it out. I got you a copy.
Build 19. God, I remember that like it was yesterday.
No, so
picture Marshalls on steroids.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's marked down and lots of carpeting for some reason. Lots of rugs.
For some reason, a lot of buildings
fire
that looked like somebody had already used it. There was like imprint of furniture on the carpet, but it was rolled up.
No, in all honesty, I wanted to go with a band that we haven't talked about in here. Chicago's own Styx.
There's a reason we've skipped them.
No, they're fans. They're rabid fans.
Huge fans.
They've been asking for this in K-pop, and it's not the new stuff. It's not the Kilroy Was Here phase. It's the older stuff. It's Renegade,
Paradise Theater stuff.
Yeah, Grand Illusion.
Grand Illusion. Yeah.
This music. There's like a whole segment of culture. They're maybe a little older than me, so maybe like mid-50s and up,
which is very young. Which is very, very young.
Very, very young, according to Jay's biological calendar there. But check them out. I mean, Come Sail Away. I mean, if you can pull yourself a greatest hits of these guys, there's lots of usable, kind of AOR, radio-friendly 70s rock.
You can still totally do Mr. Roboto, though.
Yeah.
People like that, yeah.
People do like that.
There were some fun songs on that album, though. There were two other tracks that I really liked on Kilroy Was Here. It was High Time. Yeah, I like High Time.
Don't Let It End is on here.
Yeah, I like that.
That's another great one.
High Time was one that it was released as a single and it didn't do much, but I thought it was good. I thought it was a cool chorus to the song anyway. The chorus was good. I don't know.
I think maybe it's just the groove of the band, because most of the songs are kind of like a slow rolling boil. They take a minute to get going. They don't come in just in your face.
Well, that was their experimental album. I mean, they thought they'd try something different, and they were trying to do like a Who Tommy thing with this whole story telling theme, and the tour was like that, and the fans didn't like it because they wanted to hear Renegade and
I think that was the divide between Dennis DeYoung and Tommy Shaw. I think that's what kind of made them
and
go do their own thing. Yeah.
Check out Miss America? That's a rockin' track.
That's on Grand Illusion.
Yeah, that's a rockin' track.
Pieces of Eight's a good album. There's
lots of hits there. I mean, they were a hit factory. They could do no wrong for a while, and then the 80s came, and I think they just got swallowed up in everything else that was coming out so fast.
They're still like you say, they're still popular though. You see them on touring with like
Foreigner, Kansas,
REO Speedwagon, Packages.
Oh,
they do well.
Mm-hmm.
They do well. They're doing 10,000 seat venues. So.
Well, Dennis DeYoung still got the pipes. I don't know if Tommy Shaw does, but Dennis DeYoung definitely does.
But Dennis isn't in the group.
Well, see, that's the problem. It's kind of like Peter Cetera in Chicago. It's like he's not there, so what's the point?
Well, they get a sing-alike. They get a guy from San Diego that does bass for Chicago. I don't think he's...
Yeah, they tried to pull that crap with Doobie Brothers, too. Even Michael McDonald. Come on, man.
Well, that was a whole different experience, though.
Foreigner did it without Lou Gramm. It's like, what's wrong with you?
I know, but they tried their best to make it Foreigner. I think with Michael McDonald, they had to go in a little different direction.
He's back now. He was gone for a while.
They're all in it now. Like they're calling it the Four Guys, and they're including the guy from Clover, which used to be Huey Lewis's band.
Right. Was that a Covent? Was it Clover?
I think it was Clover.
Yeah, I think you might be.
You have to look it up.
You're probably right.
But it was Huey Lewis's band, the guitar player, who then joined in at somewhere in the 80s. I think either on Minute by Minute or right after that.
Okay.
But it's like him and the dude with the super long hair. I can't remember.
That guy.
Pat Simmons, maybe?
What are you talking about?
Something.
Yeah.
And Tom something and Michael McDonald, like all four touring right now.
Right on.
You know what? You have to know these things come back around. You hit your 60s, 70s, and it's like, yeah, I'm just chilling over here at the trailer park. What are you guys up to? Yo, you want a tour? I'm in.
Yeah, right. Sure, why
Like,
not?
politics go out the door.
I'll buy a new car. I'll buy a new house.
Yeah, $65 a day per diem. I'm on it.
I'm tired of polishing my Grammys. Time to go out back on the tour again. I miss the tour bus.
Yeah.
Enough early bird specials with my AARP card. I think it's time to hit the road. See how the girls are looking. And by the way, it's the same girls in the same outfits.
And they still want to flash.
Plus 50 pounds. That's the downside.
I always felt sorry for like Poison when they go out on tour and all the girls that were Poison fans want to flash them. And they're like, oh, Jesus, please stop.
It's hysterical. Yeah. And they've got their two friends helping them lift them up.
Put them away. Put those away, Grandma.
Yeah. But they're willing to do it. So.
Oh, yeah.
Walk, don't run.
Well, we sure hijacked this one from you, Chad. I'm sorry.
No, that's the whole spiel anyway. That was the bands we haven't touched. That if people didn't hear about them, you're not going to get any new material. So you got to go back catalog a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just curious what rock and roll album Jay has for us.
I do have a rock and roll album. I have an album that I heard in 1988, and I admit, I heard the very first single, and I thought it was the best sounding song of the year. And Rolling Stone named it the best album of that year.
Okay.
It was a new concept when I first saw the video, and I'm just being blunt. Everybody, including me, looked at them and said, wow, I didn't expect to see these four guys making this kind of noise. So I, of course, am talking about Living Color.
Yeah. Vivid.
First track I heard was Cult of Personality, which I think today stands up.
Oh, banger.
You know, going on 40 years later. You know, Glamour Boys was a kind of poppy song.
I like it. I like that song.
It's good, but it was totally a departure from the other stuff, it seemed. The one that I think I liked the most was Open Letter to a Landlord.
It was okay. A little preachy for me, but it was okay.
But, you know, I like the fact that they're willing to make a stand. And at the time, it wasn't a preachy era. It was still a Motley Crue, Whitesnake era. So to have a band kind of fly in the face of that, I thought was cool. I mean,
does my memory serve me right, or was the song Living Color a little rappish?
A little bit.
Yeah, I think that was there.
Maybe my memory.
What's your favorite color? Maybe.
Yeah.
Isn't a song called
Living Color? Dun, 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 yeah.
I think it was What's Your Favorite Color? They got a little like, you know, look, we're hip hoppy.
Yeah.
I mean, there was, you know, their second album had a track that to this day I still think, you know, one of the greatest. Yeah, Time. One of the greatest.
Well, Time's Up was the album. Type was the song.
Yeah, but not even on Type. I mean, This Is Your Life. Or This Is the Life in 90 on Time's Up that I just thought was like, yeah, Time's Up. I mean, just amazing album. This one, though, I think is a good starting point for people.
Oh, it's really good.
Yeah, it's a really good album. And it's not like the song I'm thinking of on Time's Up is This Is the Life. Yeah. If you read the lyrics, it'll put a chill in your bones. It's so well written.
Yeah.
Like lyrically, it's a beautiful poem, but it's also a factual story of life. And it's as pertinent today as it was then.
You know who's a really cool guy, by the way?
Vernon Reid.
Vernon Reid, yes.
Yeah. And probably one of the most underrated at the time guitar players, but not today because Vernon Reid has done G3 tours, which are famously Joe Satriani, traditionally with Steve Vai. Then they bring in another guitarist and they always grab the best of the best. And Vernon Reid has done some of those tours with them. So that's the industry saying to him, hey, dude, you're as good as anybody.
He's just a cool guy. I met him at NAMM one year. We just talked for a long time. It was during Breakdown.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
I didn't even know that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know who introduced me to him? Gabe at Scrim King. He was hanging out with Gabe.
Really?
And I went over, when Gabe was in the arena with Scrum King, and I went over there, and he's talking to this dude. He's like, "Do you know this guy?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "You're Vernon Reid." He said, "Yeah." And it was funny because the night before I had gone out to dinner with John Krupa, and he was talking about doing sessions with Vernon Reid because they knew each other. They'd done a lot of sessions together.
Oh, wow.
And I said, "You and I have a mutual friend." And he said, "Who's that?" And I said, "John Krupa." And he's like, "Oh, Johnny's great. I love John." We talked for a long time. He's a really nice guy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would like to meet him because he played in an unorthodox, like everyone had their gunslinger guitar way down low and everyone was very posy. Mm-hmm. And Vernon shows up with this, like, holding the pick weird. The guitar was really high up and he was like
a whole saw to it.
Yeah, he was like a lightning fast player.
Yeah.
But if you watch him play, it's messy, but it's really accurate. And that's difficult to do.
And it's interesting.
It's very interesting. It's like Jeff Healey. You watch Jeff Healey and you're like, okay, forget you're blind. You're playing the guitar on your lap.
Right. Like a zither.
Sitting down. And you're crushing it. Like you're all over these blues licks, but you're playing upside down with your hand. I mean,
I like Vernon's licks. He does a nice job. But yeah, no,
he does a great job.
If you ever see him at NAMM or something, totally.
Oh, I will run over to him.
Go say hi.
We have mutual friends, Brian Red and John
Krupa. You can totally drop the John Krupa thing. He'll know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. I think he's the type that you could talk to about music because their influences have to be.
He's super approachable. Just
dramatic.
Yeah, he's just a dude. So
I always thought Glover looked like he probably had a bit of an attitude. And at the time, to wear a body glove wetsuit in 1988, when I was, a 24-year-old, wearing a wetsuit in a band that was playing kind of metal was like, what was this?
He was also an actor.
Right. Well, Danny Glover is his dad, correct?
I don't know who his dad is.
I've always heard his dad was Danny Glover, the actor.
Was it Hamburger Hill that he was in?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will go to Google on this, but
yeah, I do not think there's any relation there.
See, I always thought it was.
I don't think there is.
Yeah, Corey is this. Let's see. Danny Glover's son. Donald Glover is not Danny Glover's son. Danny Glover, daughter.
Childish Gambino.
Yeah. Early life. What about his kids? Where are his kids? Spouse, children, one, and it's a girl. Oh, wow. All this time I was incorrect on that.
No, I think he's just, I think they're just self-made dudes.
Wow. Because that was the myth. But again, this is pre-internet. So
you're like, the Lethal Weapon, Dad got him into the industry. No.
It must be.
Right. No, I think that's what we said. Good. And they got a deal.
They earned it on their own. So,
Steve Perry is Joe Perry's brother. We all knew that. I mean, that was just
right. Of course. No, but they were genuinely good and unique. And it was shocking in 1988 to see these brothers up there doing rock.
Let's just call it what it is. To see four black guys playing hard rock.
So it was bizarre.
I heard them on the radio first, and then you see them, you're like, wait a second. Oh, okay.
I mean, that shows how far we've come musically, because if you go back to the 80s and say, Phil Lynott of Thin Lizzy stood out as a black frontman for a hard rock band in the 70s. Then you go to the 80s, and you really had only two bands that were all one race, and it wasn't white, and that would have been the Bus Boys and Living Color.
I mean, I was a little triggered. Honestly, I was a little triggered because they were appropriating white culture, and I didn't like that too much.
We should maybe do a protest.
I'm the only one that got it.
Yeah.
Do one at a bar. No, but
the
really,
opinions of Brian Esrat are solely his own.
Bus Boys and Living Color were the only two rock bands that I knew of in the 80s.
What about Black Flag?
Black Flag wasn't Black. Henry Rollins was the singer of Black Flag.
Not Black Flag. What am I thinking of? Not Black Flag.
No. You're thinking of Bad Brains.
Bad Brains. Yes.
Well, and they were okay. Yeah, we'll include them. They were a punk band.
Yeah, they're a punk band.
Yeah, they came out of the 70s. Punk scene. Heavily influenced John Joseph of Cro-Mags and Blood Clot. They were they were vegan, super weed head, Super cool Jamaican, very Krishna-ish guys. But yeah, really, that's the only 3 bands we can name.
Yeah.
That were all African American.
All, yeah. Like Fishbone was everybody.
Fishbone was everybody. They had I can't remember the guy's name in Fishbone, the kind of really loud upfront guy that's black.
I don't remember. The guy who really got into the theremin.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either.
But yeah, like literally Bus Boys.
Yeah.
We'll call Bad Brains and Living Color.
Well, the Bus Boys were doing R&B though. They were doing kind of like rodeo.
They had like a little guitar solo. I mean, that's my point. I have to stretch to even get that. You know, right. There just were not bands. So when you finally saw Living Color and said, "Oh, that was enough to get you involved," like they broke at CBGB's, believe it or not, Howie.
Oh, did they?
Came out of that scene. Yeah, they're in New York based, and they used to play CBGB's. And I think there it was probably like, "Oh, cool. What are these brothers going to do?" And they like rocked the hell out of the place, and everyone went, "Whoa, what's this?"
That was really
but
good.
We looked at it the same way, like, "Oh, I got to follow this. These guys sound amazing, and they don't look like what I'm used to. There's more to the surface. There's more than meets the eye," kind of thing. And I thought they were a great band, and still are, from what I understand. I've seen videos over the last few years. They still play really tight.
Eric, what do you got?
I believe it or not, I had, before John brought it up, Paradise Theater by Styx.
Well,
and I swear to God.
Yeah, like if you're lying, what's going to happen? You get struck by lightning or something?
Oh, help! That's G.
Did you told lie to a couple DJs? Get out of here!
I know what you're saying.
We can revisit Styx again. Yeah, no, maybe you did.
What you're saying you lying well hung DJ, but I'm being serious. Okay.
Dude, he's on the phone with a hitman. John, be careful. I saw him. Stand up here.
I know where you live.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I drove you home.
Charlestown. I need you to go talk to this guy.
Here it is.
You do get it.
Here it is. I had it all ready for you, right?
All right, still on the phone.
No, John had to mess it up. John had to mess it up for everybody.
Oh, you know,
he didn't kill him.
So I went with this.
Okay, that's my Generation Stones album. Yes.
Yeah. There you go. That's
a great record.
Yeah,
I like
really good record.
You know, it's good, like Stop Me Up, Waiting on a Friend, which I liked.
Little TNA, Hang Fire.
Does that have Heaven on it? Is Heaven on that one, Eric?
This has Heaven on it. Yeah,
that's an amazing instrumental-ish type song. It does have lyrics, but it's so subtle. Great backing track, Heaven.
One of my favorites was Little TNA.
That's a great song too.
Yeah, it was just, you know, I still play it once in a while if I get the right crowd, you know.
If you get that crowd, play
anyway,
Before They Make Me Run. Keith Richards does the vocal on Before They Make Me Run. Add that one if you're going to play a little TNA, because it's the same vibe.
That's not on that album.
No, I think it's on Wheels of Steel.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, Steel Wheels.
Steel Wheels. It's one of those albums in there. It's called Before They Make Me Run.
What was that? I forget what else was on there. Mixed Emotions was on that album, I think.
Great track.
Yeah.
Like 10 years later. But yeah.
This happened one other time, but Brian didn't choose, but he was going to choose the one that I brought up.
Yeah.
I forget what album that
was. Janet Jackson Control.
Yes. Yeah. But and when John started mentioning Paradise Theater, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I'm over here trying to search for another one, you know. But anyway,
well, Paradise Theater was good. You know, it was a good one. The album itself was weird because it had like I don't know if you guys, anybody ever owned the actual record of that?
I did. I don't. Yeah. I don't.
Do you remember it was like had that weird iridescent design in the record itself, like a laser etching?
You could see it on the vinyl.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's neat. Yeah.
Some Girls has Before They Make Me Run.
Oh, well, that was the album. Yeah. All right, Matt, what do you got?
So this is the band that kind of kept rock and roll moving right along on the airwaves and also doing a little bit of the crossover mainstream appeal back in
Yes, John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band.
Yeah, for the win. Man.
Always the right answer.
I might as well just put the phone down. Speaking of down, they are from down under. They are Australian rockers. They have sold out all. Okay, so that that's one fact here and there. Their influences: Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Iggy Pop. I am talking about a group that I haven't heard from in a while called Jet, and the album Get Born. So this is a really good, their biggest hit off of there was Are You Gonna Be My Girl?
Yeah. Remember that one?
It was pretty big in movies, commercials, things like that. Roll Over DJ is another good song. Cold Hard Leap is another good song. And the whole album really flows super well. So Get Born by Jet.
I didn't know they were Australian. How come Scrappa hasn't claimed them yet?
Yeah, we haven't heard that come out. I thought you were going AC/DC.
A resident Aussie national.
I was like, okay, it's not AC/DC.
Yeah, I don't even know what they're up to nowadays. The last note I have of them is from 2009, where it said they played both all-star bushfire relief charity shows in Sydney and Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Yeah, be careful if Scrappa shows up. They were that period with like the Strokes, all those bands. Who did Phantom Limb? There's a great track, Phantom Limb. I can't remember.
That's Alice in Chains.
No, it was another one of those kind of type bands that was like, it was that new period where music sounded more 70s, like Jet, Stroke,
The Shins.
The Shins, yeah. It was a bunch of these bands that all kind of
Buck Cherry and
like the Eagles
and all those guys. Yeah.
The Shins. They opened for the Kneecaps.
Yeah. Phantom Limb. You ever need an alternative track from back in the day? That's a great track, Phantom Limb.
Nice.
Very Death Cabby, very kind of, very 70s New York.
What do you got, Howie?
Yeah.
Well, I am going back to 1976, an R&B album from Boss Skaggs, and it's called Silk Degrees.
Yeah.
And there's just so much trivia surrounding this album. His session musicians turned out to be the band Toto. It was given all kinds of nominations, like #1 album and so forth, but it did win the Grammy for Lowdown.
Yeah,
and they had Lowdown, We're All Gone, which Rita Coolidge played on, and
Girl.
They had like 4 hits off of this thing, and I can't remember the other 2, but that's my pick. It's just a really nice R&B album.
It is. It's very good.
Look up. There's a thing with Boz Skaggs, Michael McDonald, and Donald Fagen. They did like a tour a few years ago, and they do hits from each group.
Yeah,
they all kind of do Lowdown.
Now,
pretty
here's
cool.
Another quick piece of trivia on this is in the beginning of making of the movie with John Travolta.
Saturday Night Fever?
Yeah, Saturday Night Fever. Okay. John Travolta choreographed his dance to Lowdown.
Oh.
But the label would not allow them to use the song Lowdown because Lowdown was in another disco movie called Looking for Mr. Goodbar.
Oh, I remember.
Wow.
So then the Bee Gees came on board, and then the rest is history.
Never seen Looking for Mr. Goodbar. I heard it was racy.
Yeah, it was.
It was racy.
My big sister saw it, and she was trying to tell me about it, and I got bored when it came out. I don't remember. That was 76,
it was just,
first time.
It was at the time it was racy because she was just dating around, and then she finally picked the wrong guy and he murdered her, stabbed her.
Oh, well, that's probably...
spoiler alert, spoiler alert.
And his wife killed her.
Mr. Goodbar was not found.
A 50-year-old movie. I don't know if there's a spoiler alert.
Yeah, this is statute of limitations,
You don't know our audience, Howie.
You're in the Matrix.
If you haven't seen it in 50 years, chances are, it's not on your must-watch Netflix list.
I just found out about it.
Okay, so I'm going to try something a little different tonight.
Prince.
Pick a number between 1 and 5.
6.
3.
3. Okay. 3. So we got 3.
3.
Left or right?
Right.
right.
Three right? I go three right.
Now tell me left or right again.
Left.
Left. Number between 1 and 5.
2. 4.
4? Okay, so that was 3, right, left, and 4, right?
Yep.
Correct? Okay.
That's one of those things that my kids used to play with. Remember?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Do you like Sarah? 1, 2, 3, 4, left, right, left, 3, 4.
Kind of the same.
Okay. First shelf is the middle shelf. Okay?
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to pick a record? Oh, this will be fun.
Yeah. We're just going to go for it. I'm going to find the first album within the group of 5s here.
Okay.
So
I thought we were opening up a safe.
It's down here, right? Correct? On the left. We go right, then we go left, right? So this is left.
Yeah.
And then what'd you say, 4?
4.
4.
Okay, so I got to move some stuff out of my way here. Okay. I'm just going to do clumps of records here just to make it fair. 1,
All right.
2, 3, 4. Whoop. How about here? The first record I can find, like not a 12-inch, but a record I can find within this little group here. What do I got?
Brian gets his hand trapped. The entire show goes off the rails.
Hey,
Yeah, bring over a couple. We can talk about them.
so
They're
we're going to sing "Dream of the Blue Turtles" tonight.
Oh,
There you go.
Okay.
that's a good
This
album.
was the first big record that came out after the Police broke up with Sting.
Yeah.
The big song on it was "If You Love Somebody, Set Them Free." But yeah, this was all Sting. This wasn't the Police. He was doing his own thing at this point and did his own thing from there on out, I guess. But good album. Let me fix the camera.
I like Sting.
Yeah, I like Sting as well. A hell of a bass player.
Yeah. Did that have Fortress Around Your Heart on it too? I think
Yes.
that was his first. That was the first 45 I think I got from Sting solo.
Yes. Here, I don't know if I have my reading glasses here or not. Yeah, Fortress Around Your Heart was really good. What's that? 7 Waves of Something is on here. That's
When I put out my album next year, the font's going to be 73. So each song is going to be.
It's gonna be a 7-record set with 7 songs.
Yeah.
One,
Love Is
12-inch
the
single.
Seventh Wave.
Yeah.
That's the one I was trying to think of.
There you go. We found
Okay.
Love in the 7th Wave, didn't she?
Russians.
Didn't
Russians,
she
that was
sing
the
about
big
that?
song.
Oh, that's a good song.
The Russians love their children too.
Yeah.
Children's Crusade. Shadows in the Rain. We Worked the Black Realm. Consider Me Gone. The Dream of the Blue Turtles. Moon Over Bourbon Street. And Fortress Around Your Heart.
I mean, that's a strong album.
It's pretty good. Yeah. That's got a lot of good stuff on it. And
That
for
is
a
a lot.
debut solo album, after coming off one of the biggest bands of all time, The Police,
And that was after they'd done their huge arena tour.
that
Like
was
they were
after
just dating
Synchronicity, man.
Yeah.
Synchronicity was a monster.
I know you leave your band after the biggest record that you've had in for your entire career in that band, and it's like, oh, solo.
Well, they broke up. That was it. They broke up. So
Well, they parted ways. I think he wanted to do stuff that was different, and not Police tied. You know what I mean? Because Police always had that reggae thing going, and Sting wanted to be different.
well, he did something very different.
Yeah, and he's very recognizable, so he would float, solo because videos made him, a god.
I think he just signed a deal with Vegas to do a residency.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I was in Vegas a couple weeks ago, I believe his name got mentioned for a residency, which would be perfect for Vegas and the audience that goes there, for the older audience, to go see him on a nightly basis. I think he'd do really well with a residency.
He probably would. I will admit that I prefer the work with the Police to his solo work. I really do. It's almost
a
that
different
whole
vibe.
It's almost that whole Van Halen, David Lee Roth thing and Sammy Hagar thing.
Do you think his stuff could have been Police songs? Do you think his solo album could have been Police?
I think that the Police, if he was working with Copeland and
Andy Summers,
Summers, I think it would have had that vibe, or it would have been a different vibe.
It would have been a different vibe. Yeah,
you're talented.
Because I can't see Roth singing the 5150 stuff.
No. No. Okay, so I believe that wouldn't have been a Van Halen album. That would have been a Sammy Hagar album.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Van Halen.
I think it was more
we never heard
Van Halen. Yeah,
we never heard what they would have done.
No,
Maybe they would have done Yankee Rose. I don't know.
I
I don't
doubt
know.
it.
I don't know.
Doubt it.
I'm just
Roth
saying.
was way too showy about it. Like, hey, it's me and his show. And the band was like, we have so much to offer. That's why I think it's Sammy fit.
I totally understand it was time for everybody to move on, but when you got a band like that comes up together, there's I don't know, how can I say this? Well, I don't know, it's been a long time, but you know what it's like when you break up with a girl. I mean, your heart's broken, but you get really creative, because you're sad and there's angst, and when you're in like some kind of turbulent thing, even if it's a band that you're like brothers and you're fighting and you're struggling for power. Metallica does this.
Oh, yeah.
Metallica still does this and produces great work. And I think that's part of it. If they were all just happy guys, I doubt we'd have good material. So I don't know that I like this album though. I do. I just prefer the Police stuff in retrospect. It's all good. Don't get me wrong. But
if you had to choose one, it would be Police. Well, what's funny is if you look at his band lineup, there's this bald, he wears glasses, percussionist, excuse me, who there's a certain level of artist. Eric Clapton, Sting, Jagger solo, those guys. This one Bowie, this one guy on percussion plays with all of them. If you watch any videos of any of those bands, you see this percussionist on stage, and he was with Sting as well. And it's like he got that type of band. Like he suddenly had one of Bowie's bass players in the band, and he didn't get Earl Slick or anything, but he got that caliber of musician. They were legit, big time, stellar, knew what they were doing guys. And I think that it was a formula for success based on their history of the music. And then you put Sting in the mix and go, here, write something. And he's a prolific writer. It just always struck me odd. Bands reach a certain age and pinnacle in their career, and they bring in such hired guns that, like, how could you fail?
Right. I think I was having this conversation with my son-in-law in the shop. It might have been with one of you. I can't remember, but it was recently. We were talking about that really terrible song that I hate, just because it sounds like a bunch of drunken sailors. It's Sting, Bryan Adams, and Rod Stewart, All for Love.
All for Love.
They all just sound drunk. Like no one's like even their harmonies are not good, but because
they
the three of
probably
them
were.
was a hit.
But Power Trio.
I always love it as a drunken sailor song, but I love all of those guys individually. But
but not
that
together.
marriage to me didn't work.
No, they're all sitting at the bar, arm in arm, swaying back and forth, singing.
Yeah, I just no.
Well, look how quiet we got about Chris Stapleton, Ed Sheeran, Bruno Mars. And I think Justin Timberlake got in the mix somehow too. Like about a year or two ago, out comes this rock album, and it was horrendously bad. And you can hear their voices, but instead of like hearing Tennessee Whiskey, you hear Chris Stapleton like trying to jam out like an Aerosmith vocal, and I'm like, oh, this is not good. But everyone's like, can you believe it's those four superstars? I'm like, dude, I don't care. It sucks.
You look back at things and you think, okay, what in the hell is Tom Petty and Stevie Nicks going to sound like together? And they do it. It's like, this is cool.
That was very cool. Don Henley
so
and Stevie
sometimes
Nicks.
the weird stuff works together.
Right.
I have a sneaking suspicion that's what they were thinking in their heads.
Oh yeah, of course.
Two that shouldn't have gone together did a great hit. A great hit.
We're bigger than the outcome of this.
So let's do this and then add another guy.
This has to sound good. No, it doesn't have to sound good.
Yeah.
I think Stevie could sing with anybody and make it sound good, though. That's my opinion.
Well, who we heard her sing with? Kenny Loggins, Tom Petty, Don Henley.
Right.
Lindsey Buckingham.
Lindsay. Yeah. She sounded good on all of it.
Yeah. Yes, she did.
So that's my opinion. I think
I think you're right.
I think she could just make it go with anybody,
Yeah.
But I think people adapt to her style because if you listen to her vocal, it's Stevie Nicks on every one of those artists I just mentioned. It's never her singing their song.
I'm just trying to think of really weirdo harmonies that I've heard in music, and the one I'm thinking about is Mass Destruction. Was it African Bambaataa and like Johnny or John Lydon?
Yeah, I think you're right. From Pell.
Talk about destruction. Yeah, it was like, that was weird.
Oh, that was a good song.
David Bowie and Mick Jagger doing Dancing in the Streets. That was weird.
That was embarrassing.
And I will give you Metallica with
Lou Reed. The Lou sessions.
Not Faith Hill. Marianne Faithfull.
Oh, yeah.
Don't think it really worked.
That memory remains, right?
Do you know what? Okay, Ebony and Ivory, Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney. That was bizarre.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then you had Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson, which worked really well, I thought.
Real strange, but it worked.
But it worked really well. Say is an amazing song.
It is, and their voices match well.
Yeah.
And the harmonies they did in that were really good.
Yeah.
So
well, it's like,
some odd pairings that work and some odd pairings that don't.
You have all the liner notes behind you because you have vinyl. And I think today's DJs and music fans don't get, I played a Little Feat song a couple weeks ago on Twitch, and what you don't know listening to the song, and you just go, wow, the harmonies on this are beautiful. Well, yeah, it's Linda Ronstadt, or no, it's Bonnie Raitt and James Taylor doing background. Yeah. And you look at albums that have like Linda Ronstadt and James Taylor doing background, and you're like, well, no wonder the song sounds so amazing.
Got another weirdo one for you.
Yep.
Carly Simon and Mick Jagger on You're So Vain.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That worked really well.
Great.
That worked good.
Mm-hmm. She disclosed. Does anyone know what she said the song was about? Is it Warren Beatty? Is it Mick Jagger? Is it?
I don't know if it's anyone,
not James Taylor.
She has said that it's about she says James is wonderful, but it's supposed to be just a whole bunch of dudes kind of mixed together. Okay. I don't think it's supposed to be anybody specific.
That makes sense.
All the knuckleheads she dated, but not James Taylor because she thought he was a good guy.
It's funny how the only two songs that I can think of that have any sort of a myth around who it's written about were both sung by women. Carly Simon, You're So Vain.
Scorn, women.
Alanis Morissette.
You ought to know.
And they both carried this whole... Well, we do now. It was the guy from...
The Full House guy, yeah.
Full House.
Yeah, Full House guy, yeah.
Yeah.
The actor, yeah.
But it's like, it was a thing. Like when it came out, it was a thing. Like, who's this about? Oh, it's a guy I dated. Boom, everyone cared.
Well, everyone knows who Taylor Swift is writing about, whoever her last boyfriend.
Well, whoever her last boyfriend was, yeah.
And nobody cares. Even though her tickets are expensive, nobody's asking the question.
At the end of this tour, she should be a billionaire. That's how big this tour is. She should actually raise $1 billion or bring her 700 million to $1 billion.
Tickets in Boston were going for $3,000 and up, for crying out loud.
For 3 sold out nights. She sold 3 nights, every city, sold out, every stadium.
I seen a meme on Facebook. If she played in my bathroom for free, I wouldn't show up.
Tell us how you really feel. Stop editing your feelings, Eric, okay? Let it out. Let it out.
I mean, I just played Trouble over and over again, and I'm trying to play the new one as well when they request it, and nobody quite knows how to dance to it, but I still politely play it for the people who ask for it. So,
well,
she's not rocking anybody's world in my world.
You know what? You bring up an interesting point. We as DJs play to an audience that's pretty diverse, and Taylor Swift is playing to roughly 250,000 people per city on this tour. She's doing 3 shows sold out between 60 and 80,000 a night. And yet as DJs, I play Shake It Off.
Yeah, Shake It Off in Trouble.
But I mean, don't you find it kind of amazing that she can pull $1 billion on tour, but then it makes you start thinking there are bands that are touring. Fish sold 60,000 in Atlantic City on the beach. I don't even have a Fish song.
Yeah, that's like my worst nightmare. It's like Grateful Dead, but worse.
But that's the thing. Exactly. Look at the bands that can tour and draw a huge crowd. John will get this. This isn't on your radar at all, Brian, I don't think.
Okay.
But, Maiden is playing to 60, 70,000 people a show. Most people can't name an Iron Maiden song.
I know Iron Maiden.
And even their fans can't name anything in the last 20 years.
Oh, no.
For the most part. But
I thought you were going to say Jay Giles. Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, like, obviously, we joke about the 617 Strong thing in Boston, but I mean, the radio stations promoted their own. You heard Giles all the time. They were huge in Boston. I think I said the other night, when New Kids on the Block toured in 93, when I moved out of Mass, they played 3 sold out shows at Gillette Stadium. They weren't even close to their hype. They were like way over the top of that. They weren't down to like NKOTB time, but yet Boston loves their own. And I think most cities, Billy Joel for 10 years played once a month at Madison Square Garden. He couldn't do that in LA.
Well, wait a minute. Now that I'm thinking about it, the Femmes they're performing their new album with the symphony. Like, that's a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not going crazy over, like Steve Miller. I mean, he's from here.
Right.
I don't know. It's funny to me that you guys are just so like supportive.
It's very emboldened when you're
Aerosmith in the car.
I like what I like. I don't care where they're from.
Oh, when I worked at BCN,
the Bodines are from here.
I like the Bodines.
They're from Waukesha, same place Les Paul.
Oh, good band. But that's it. When I worked in radio, Brian, in 82, 83, into 84, you played Aerosmith, Boston, The Cars, Jay Giles, like whatever was on the plate, you played stuff, and you tried to break bands that weren't there yet. We played Gangrene, played The Neighborhoods, played The Fools. I mean, they just were on the playlist because the program director's like, this stuff gets played.
Yes, we support local artists. We support local. Yeah.
You support local, you're going to play them. And nobody bitched about it. We understood, like, we had a good music scene and we supported it.
It's still humorous to me that, like, Scrappa gets so excited if an ex-Australian.
But we're the same way, I think. I still get excited about Boston acts.
I'm weird, I guess.
I'm like, actually today, you know who I heard today on the radio, on Sirius, has a new song out I think it's called Women Lost Their Power. It's more or less a Roe v. Wade complaint song. This will freak you out. And his voice sounds a little less than it used to be, but still pretty good. And the riff is good. Billy Squier.
Oh boy.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. He's got a new track out. And apparently the goal is to put out a new album and tour. Who knew? But I mean, Billy Squier, even though I think he's more New York, Boston holds Billy Squier as one of their own.
Very high esteem up until that pillow fight.
Yeah, that whole video, that was a mistake.
It was interesting. Before the show, you were talking about a client that you talked to, and they mentioned that they liked rock and they were from Michigan.
Michigan.
You rattled off.
Yep.
Like, I don't know what
Bob Seger,
and Ted Nugent and
Iggy
whatever.
Pop, The Stooges, Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
MC5.
Well, Glenn Frey, technically, I guess you could say even.
Oh, is he Michigan?
He's from Detroit.
Perfect. Then that would be the Eagles. That's even better. Because then I could totally.
Extra.
Or I could just do like, You Belong to the City, Miami Vice now. Now we're in Miami.
Glenn Frey's Detroit. I think John Henley's like, I don't know, somewhere stupid Texas, and
Smuggler's Blues.
The heat is on. Don't forget that.
Well,
yep. That's 3 tracks I can play at this wedding. Good. That's
Lubbock, Texas, same place that is that where Buddy Holly?
Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
Buddy Holly's Lubbock, Texas.
No, the reason it was funny that you said it, and I'm thinking about it, you know that I've been with my brother for the last month in the shop. We're working on a car.
Yep.
You know what? And if I hear Stranglehold or Wang Ding one more time,
is it off the double live Gonzo? Because
I think I'm going to put an ice pick in my temple. I can't.
No, that's a great track.
I can't do it anymore. He's been listening to the same crap since I was 7 years old, and I can't handle it anymore.
If he yells out, "This is going out to all that Nashville," then you know it's the double live Gonzo album.
Dang, yeah.
Wang Dang, Sweet Poontang. Yep, know it well.
It's so exciting when these songs come out. I'm like, dude, we heard it yesterday.
Yeah.
Why are you so excited about this?
Right, give something similar.
Right.
Put on Fog Hat.
You got to make a mixtape. Yeah.
Yeah, Slow Ride and
yeah,
back on the road again. Yeah, he's excited.
Yeah.
And my mother, it's so funny. I walk out of the garage going to get a drink in the house, and my mom says, "What is that crap he's playing out there?"
Oh, boy. She spoiled him.
What happened to the Yacht Rock station? Put that back on. That was good.
Yeah.
I was
Give him a little
surprised
Grand
to see.
Funk, give him American Band 16 times.
No, he loves all that stuff. But it's
I'm sure he does.
The man is stuck in the 70s.
Yes.
Like just stuck there. In fact,
you know what, Brian?
In fact, we were listening to like Class Rewind on my XM, and they played Glory Days by Springsteen. And I looked at my son-in-law and I said, we ought to make a song called Glory Days based on Dan. Just about, glory days, driving in my 55, glory days, yeah.
But
just precariously
you go backwards. You go backwards. I remember getting
boomer shit is what it is. And I'm just not used to having it in my face like this.
I think it's an age thing, but it's a period thing. Like when I got Guitar Player with Ace Frehley on the cover, and at the time I'd just become like a big Kiss fan and I couldn't wait. I was playing guitar. I'm like, I want to read this. When they said, I distinctly remember one of the questions was, who are the guitar players you really like? Like, who's great out there? And he named off Townsend, Page, Hendrix, Nugent, Rick Derringer, Jeff
Clapton.
Beck,
Yep.
all the older guys. And they said, who are you listening to that's new? And even Paul Stanley was like, I'm kind of listening to some old blues stuff and some old rock. And I think you just reach a point where you stop developing into new music. Yeah. And as DJs, we have to develop. I have this wedding on Saturday, and they want Mac Miller, Little Uzi Vert. And I said to them famously, hey guys, let me know what you want, like some other songs. Well, the stuff we want, you really can't play at a wedding. Well, to me, that's the challenge. You've thrown down the gauntlet. Let's go. Well, they sent me the list tonight. I won't, and it's not a huge list by any stretch, but there's a couple tracks that I honestly had never heard of. Ladders by Mac Miller, Compass by The Neighborhood, Helsinki's Art Scene, Satellite Stories. So I look it up on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, this sounds a lot like A-Punk by Vampire Weekend. But it sounds like it's around 120, 122. You know what? I bet you I could play this with, maybe, who am I thinking of? Cake by the Ocean. Like in my head, I'm like, how can I get what they want? To me, music sometimes becomes like a garnish. Like, here's your salad. I really like flowers. I put an edible flower in the middle. Oh my God, thank you so much. And you're happy. Well, music can be like that. When people want things that are out of left field, it's my job to come in and say, hey, I know you wanted this weird Helsinki Art Story song. So what I did was I started it, 8 bars in where it has a beat, and I mixed it with, dance, Cake
by the Ocean.
By the Ocean by Dance. This is, oh, wow. Oh, that's perfect. Because you realize people's love of music, they just want to know they're being recognized sometimes.
Yeah.
They just want to know that their stuff matters against others. And our specialty is the ability to take random music and somehow work it in. I do hope that I don't get the client someday that goes, hey, man, if you could just drop this Captain Beefheart track at some point, because I got nothing. I've listened to Captain Beefheart because I thought maybe I'm not intelligent enough to understand, so I should listen to some of this.
Yeah.
I got nothing. And those of you that have never heard of Captain Beefheart, very Zappa-ish.
Yeah, very much.
Just put on a Captain Beefheart album and try not to kill yourself.
There are a lot of acts out there, and I've told you this before, and I don't want to repeat myself, but there are a lot of acts out there that some people think are really great, but whenever I'm asked to listen to them, it feels like I'm doing a homework assignment I don't want to do.
Can you name an example? The one you described that, what comes to mind? Devo.
I like Devo.
I like Devo too, but I think of Devo as being more cerebral. Like, You can't just go, hey, she's just a girl, the one you want. Like, it's not like that. You have to kind of get stuck in that Zappa thing where it's so involved. You're like,
it's very post-punk is what it is. It's
but it's
I thought it was fun.
Their early stuff is not that post-punk. It's
no. The early stuff is before. Yeah, that's pre-punk.
Yeah,
stuff.
But it's really cool sounding. But some of these bands, it's like, I mean, we kind of saw that in the '90s. Death Cab for Cutie and Postal.
Yeah, that's homework.
Camera Obscura. You've got to stop and think, like, okay, what am I? Okay, this song is completely about suicide. You want this at the wedding, like when Soul Meets Body, and like when you leave into the night, and like I'll kill literally, and if you leave before me, I'll kill myself. Like, dude, this is. I know you think it's a love song, but parents may listen to the
vampires.
Yeah.
It's like pumped up kicks is one of those. It's about showing up.
That's it.
And it's so catchy.
Validation.
Great song.
Thank you.
Great song.
Yeah, if you want to talk about school shootings, this is why I don't play
catchy tune.
Excellent song.
Horrible subject matter. Yes.
Yeah.
This is why I don't play it. I'm the sensitive.
Do you know why I like that song so much?
Because I hate it.
No, because it's different. I can't think of anything else that sounds like. It almost sounds like
you should
they recorded it in a
bathroom
bathroom somewhere. But I don't know. It's just an interesting song. I like it. I know.
But it's not going to stand the test of time.
It has.
Howie, help me out with this. The song Heroin by Lou Reed.
Yes.
Never will do heroin. Don't want to deal with heroin.
No.
But listen to the words. There's a line in it where he goes, I feel like the son of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how mind-blowingly crazy that line is? Like, he makes you think. He makes you go somewhere talking about a drug he had an addiction to that killed a lot of people. I mean, that takes some artistry.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Well, Nico only made the one album because she died from a heroin overdose. You know,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's art.
Wrote what he knew,
yeah,
and it was a period piece. And that period of New York, that scene, is no longer. So it's really not relevant to me anymore.
No,
I mean, I don't think I would play it anywhere.
I can't see playing it anywhere either, but it's one of those tracks you listen to and just kind of go. I mean, Rachel Sweet's Wildwood Saloon. I've played that for people from New Jersey, and they're like, I think I've been there. And I'm like, it's a made up place. Well, no, the way she describes it, I think I know that bar. I'm like, no, she said this was just off. She was 16. She'd never been to a bar, but she wrote a beautiful song called Wildwood Saloon. And if you listen to it, it's a slow song. It depicts a bar so specifically that you turn around and go, oh, I've been to this place. I know what she's talking to, that place down the shore.
Yeah.
You know, that's the difference with artistry. The pumped up kicks thing, my thing, Matt, that Brian jokes about, because I did a rant video years ago.
I'm just not a cancel culture guy. Jay is. Kind of a snowflake that way. The reason I like the song is because it's a dark subject matter, but it's all like up tempo and happy, and that the irony of that is funny to me. But I like. There's a lot of reasons I like it, but that's just another reason, I guess.
Brian's a huge Divine fan, by the way. Just
I love Divine. I love Divine.
Yeah.
And
here we go. Yeah. Pink Flamingo is one of Brian's favorite.
No, not as an actor. I like the work he was doing with like I'll Stock Cake and Waterman, the disco stuff like Native Love, and
that would be Pink Flamingos too.
No, that would not be Pink Flamingos. That was like 15 years earlier.
Well, that was still with John Waters, though.
What does that have
saying?
To do with anything?
It's like
no, not the actor.
Things aren't what you think.
I like him as a singer. I like him as a singer.
Oh, I don't know if I've even heard his stuff as a singer. Was it any good?
Native Love? You've never heard Native Love by Divine?
No, sorry.
I mean, I'm straight, so I don't.
All right, when the show's over, we'll check it out.
Is that?
No, that was like that was like almost a hip hop tune. Almost, it was cool. It's good.
Is it McLaren-ish?
No.
Okay.
It's very Dead or Alive, is what it is.
Because everyone comes to me with that, like, don't you think Malcolm McLaren's work was amazing? Like, no. What? What do you mean? Yeah, now you're giving the same look they give. No, I'm not.
Malcolm McLaren did some neat stuff. Really did. Not everything he did was great. I didn't like everything he did, but he did some interesting things.
Oh no, he did interesting. It's just
it was always surprising.
I didn't get on that train.
Oh, I was all about the stuff that he was doing with. The hell's the album called? Duck Rock.
Duck Goose?
That was a good Duck Rock. With Buffalo Gals on it and Double Dutch and stuff. It's called Duck Rock.
The Buffalo Gals go around the outside.
The boombox had like a horn on it and stuff. And
yeah. You know what? This might be the dividing rod in the street. You know what movie I really liked that I bet you didn't like? Warriors.
I liked Warriors.
Okay.
I liked Warriors a lot.
Okay.
Joe Walsh in the City was an interesting choice for the.
I thought it was a really interesting choice, and I thought it fit 110%.
The book is dark, so I like the way they did the movie because the book was ugly. The movie was actually pretty good.
The only one of late, and it's 40 years ago, was Less Than Zero. The book is insanely dark, but the movie was nowhere near as dark.
It's kind of the same sort of thing.
Actually, American Psycho, the book is sickeningly dark. But
they almost did a musical version of. I mean, the way it was so campy. But the original, the book it was based off of is not cool.
No. The book is scary. Bret Easton Ellis that wrote
it's very racist Psycho. And ugly and yeah.
Oh yeah, he hurts a dog in American Psycho in the beginning. That's like. Kind of sets the tone. You're like, oh, geez, I don't think I want to read this.
I mean, it's art. It's trying to provoke emotion, but
yeah. All right. This is boring. This is better when you two are fighting. Come on, Jay, spice it up. Spice it up a bit. Come
Next
on.
Week, cage match.
I love the debates. I love it. You both bring up great points. I love listening to it. Come on. Who's next?
I'm going to make you guys listen to Divine after this, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, well, if I'm right, and I would be the first to say next week I was wrong. This is really good.
No, you might not like it. It's just it's very campy and stupid, but I like it, and it was popular at the time, especially in the New York.
I had to see Pink Flamingos at the Harvard Square Theater, where I also saw.
The movies those John Waters movies are horrible.
It was horrendous.
Horrible. No,
I walked out of there like, okay, I'm just.
No, I don't like John Waters. I think cool. He's an interesting guy, but I don't like his films. But and nothing he did, I really care for. But Divine did some music. It was really interesting. A couple of songs in particular that were pretty good. And I've got some Divine back here on the show.
I always think of Divine. I think of him, John Waters.
Yeah.
I can't. See one without the other.
He's another guy from Baltimore, but
yeah.
But
it just seems like they run hand in hand.
No, they did, and then they didn't. I don't know. We'll have to. I'll have to show you after the show.
And for the record, Divine is 2 right 13. I'm just giving you a clue.
Geographic coordinates to Divine. Yeah.
Nice. The Divine actually I think is in my disco category, but maybe not though.
Side note, Howie, check out Carmine Street Guitars. Mm-hmm. It's a guitar store down in the Village that was there in the 70s. Mm-hmm. It's been there for 40 some odd years. Yeah, they've got a hour plus documentary on it, and it's visited by Lou Reed's Guitar Tech.
Yeah.
The family Lou Reed's guitars were made by this place.
Yes, they had the Luthers they had there were world class. Everybody from around the world went there.
On all your vaccines?
Yeah.
Well, let's stick a fork in it. I think we did.
Yeah. Hey, can we double back around 1 second to Sting? Because there's an interesting quote he had with Rick Beato that I think you'll find interesting if you haven't watched the interview.
I did.
You saw where Sting said something has to grab him within the first 8 bars, or he just tunes out and stops listening.
Which I'm like that too. I was surprised to hear that.
You're exactly like that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are that. And so when we hear, we talked, I wanted to get back around to Sting, but we could do it next time. It was just the way he writes, and he's just so prolific with what he puts out. He wants it to be interesting for him. So it becomes interesting for us that we don't tune out when his song starts because you don't know what it's going to do. There's changes. There's subtle things that you know. That's a great interview if for anyone that wants to deep dive and sing.
Check that out.
I had forgotten that he had said that, but I remember when he did, how much it resonated with me. It's like, oh,
sure,
yeah,
1,000%.
Because I think, like you say, most of us are like that too.
Yeah.
Like I'll go through the promos and like the first seconds, like up, skip.
Nah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't know the whole tune.
Yeah.
Well, look at police tracks between timing and intro. Like you start listening, you're like, wait, the drums aren't on beat. And it makes you listen more. And you're like, oh, no, wait, they just skipped a bar. Oh, now they're, oh, okay. Oh, the song's over.
Right.
That was a great song. Like it draws.
He writes interesting songs, and it's intentional because that's what he wants, and that's what we want. So
yeah. And then if you want to go the other extreme, you go to Bon Jovi, where the expression that they learned in the studio was, "Don't bore us, give us the chorus."
Right.
And if you look at his tracks, he tends to open with the chorus and then go to the first verse.
Yeah, he does.
Because if you give him the chorus up front, you make him listen to the rest of the song to see where
Except
you go.
the Living on a Prairie doesn't do that, which is odd. He does this long intro on that one.
He does. Yeah.
But,
and there was a couple tracks he went a little askew on, but
There were a lot of people.
Was like, get the chorus out there as fast as you can.
There were a lot of artists that started with the chorus, though. Now that you mentioned that, that could be a whole other show. You know, just like who did that? Started with the chorus, then went into, you know, and then
started with the bridge.
But even that, right? Yeah,
the bridge is even instrumentally starting with the bridge is interesting. But yeah, another show.
100%. And just writing bridges there's masters. I mean,
yes,
whether you're a fan or not, Billy Joel is one of the greatest bridge writers on the planet.
I love Billy.
Bridges in his songs are complete pieces of work.
The one that I think is like nothing but a collection of bridges is Jefferson's Starship with Your Love. Like the whole song is nothing but bridge, 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 bridge.
Yeah.
There are other songs like that too, but that's the one that just sticks out in my mind. And I like it for that.
I got to remember what song I saw the other night, and the artist said, "It's so funny. We had this great hit, but there's no chorus."
Right.
And they're like, "Wait, what do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, there's."
Oh, you know what else is like that? Brass
we
and
just
Pocket
kept
by the Pretenders.
building. Yeah, there's no chorus there, and you just keep
barely.
building, and then the song winds out.
Yeah,
like
it never resolves. It just
there's no resolution.
meanders along and yeah.
I always thought the chorus was going to use my arms, going to use my legs.
That's a bridge because it goes because I'm gonna make a scene. It's just listen to the song. There might be a little part. I got brass in pocket. I don't know if that's a verse or a chorus, but the rest of the song is all bridges.
No, I think you're right. I think it starts with a bridge and then goes to a verse.
It's interesting. But anyway.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry we didn't fight enough.